I'm Miyah and I would like to welcome you to the latest episode of my blog series. So far, I have been able to share my own experiences on what it's like for me to live with Asperger syndrome. A second thing that I will do is give my 2 cents on what's going on with autism and the media. A third area entails providing tips and advice for those of you that have Asperger's, as well as your friends, families, peers, mentors, and anybody in the community, such as an employer, an educator, as well as professionals and anybody that would say work at a restaurant or at a church and the like. And finally, I will cover topics on things that I'm passionate about. But before I go ahead and talk about my experiences of living with Asperger's, I have 2 things to talk about. So first and foremost, if you click up here in the upper right-hand corner, this is a TED Talk by Alex Generous, and the name of the talk is called My Inner Life. And she has Asperger syndrome like myself, and she is also a comedian and a public speaker, next to being a neuroscientist, and she had written a paper on the coral reefs. So please be sure to check her out, is because she sounds really interesting. And she's also really pleasant and super funny. And then if you want some scholarly tips from myself, please be sure to go to helloworld240.wordpress.com. That's helloworld240.wordpress.com. And what I would like to do now is share my own experiences of living with Asperger's. And I wanted to talk about a situation that arose when I was out in public. So I went to a particular part of Atlanta to both get a haircut and go out to dinner. And then I went to catch the train home because this particular part of town has a mass transit system. And I was down at the station waiting, and I happened to run into 2 women, and they were nicely dressed because there are not only a lot of restaurants in this part of Atlanta, but it's a huge business district, and they have a lot of agencies over there that collaborate with the organization where I work. And I thought they looked familiar, so I tried to open things up, and I asked them, or I told them, rather, that they looked really nice, and I liked the way they were dressed. And they returned the compliment, and they liked the way I was dressed. And I proceeded to ask them where they were working in case I'd run into them. And they ignored me while we were waiting for the train, and they talked amongst themselves. And then, as we were boarding the train, they refused to talk to me. I asked them one more time, and one of the ladies proceeded to tell me that she didn't speak English, which I knew was a lie because she was being a little smart mouth about it. And the other one just was too pretentious or too good to talk to me. And she goes, "I don't share my business with strangers. Or I don't talk about my personal life, ma'am. I'm sorry." And I was hurt because I thought there's no reason for somebody to talk to another like that. Good grief, you're not that important. But I ended up running into a neighbor and a friend of mine, and I explained the situation to her the very next night, and she said that just because somebody compliments you doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be friendly. They're just being polite. So this is something that I, as an Aspie, often struggle with, because this is what I like to call an unwritten rule of society. I often think that when somebody's nice to me, it means that they're interested in being friendly. And that's something that often throws me off and gets me really upset. And for those of you that are parents, and those of you that are family members, employers, whoever, and whenever you see someone getting upset like that, don't take it personally. It means that there's a portion of our brain that isn't turning us on and making us realize that they're just not real friendly. And me, I thought that, they look familiar. But perhaps they didn't recognize me if they did, or perhaps these were other women that thought they were too good. Either way, if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you because I'm out of time. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel and share this on social media. You can also check out my Facebook page, which is Hello World with Miyah Sundermeyer. And you can also go and find me on Twitter at SummerGirl43. And please be sure to check out my written blogs on WordPress.com. Until next time, I'm Miyah Sundermeyer, and I'm signing off.